What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So it's Tuesday, which means it's time for our weekly tier list Tuesday. And I thought that we would tier list some of the best players in the NHL and how they're performing this year in the playoffs, or already performed if their team's already out of it. This is going to be the top 23 players that made the playoffs from my MB top 50 back in January, as well as like the top 5 goaltenders. So without further ado, let's dive into it. I am somewhat going to be grading this a little bit on a scale, not grading, tier listing on a scale a bit. I do expect more out of like a top 5 player than a player that just barely I put on that was within my top 23. But even those players that just barely made it still are star players and should play damn good. So yeah, a little bit of a curve, but overall expectations were decently high for all of these guys. Great, pretty self-explanatory. Conn Smythe level right now, top 5 in the Conn Smythe. Very good. Definitely elevating their play relative to the regular season. Good/solid, kind of a little bit on the either side of their expectations. And then bad. Again, I'm not acting like these guys are scrubs that actively really hurt their team, but relative to expectations, they were very, very underwhelming. Let's get into it. Up first, Mikko Rantanen. I'd probably put him in I'm joking, obviously. He no shit goes in great. His first 4 games might have actually been in bad. He only had 1 point in his first 4 games. But overall, 9 goals, 9 assists, 18 points, back-to-back hat tricks. Hat tricks in that Game 7. He was responsible for, he was involved in, 11 or 12 straight goals by the Dallas Stars. He has really been carrying this team. A forward core that has not really stepped up outside of him. He has been the driving force. He's been fantastic. He is the clear Conn Smythe pick. Right now, Andrei Vasilevskiy, back-to-back, pretty underwhelming playoff performances. This year was no different. This year might have been the worst with an 872. When looking at it in that first game, he was just straight up ass. The rest of the way, he wasn't horrible, but I look at Game 4 where he allowed those 2 goals. They had the lead. He allows those 2 goals 11 seconds apart. Bad performance by Andrei Vasilevskiy. He ended up finishing again with an 872, just not going to cut it. Kyle Connor, the first round, definitely in great. Has gone a little bit cold versus the Dallas Stars. In the first round, though, 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points. Winnipeg had all those injuries. Connor Hellebuyck was playing so bad, he completely carried this team, and in that Game 7 had assists on all of the goals. But yeah, in the Dallas series, he only has 1 point right now in 3 games, so I can't quite go in great. Nico Hischier, 4 goals in 5 games, 0 assists. But when looking at the New Jersey Devils, he had 4 of their 11 goals total against Carolina Hurricanes. So the loss wasn't on him. The loss is not at all on him, and he's always pretty damn good defensively. So although the New Jersey Devils went out kind of sadly in 5, Nico Hischier showed up in a big way. Kirill Kaprizov, similar thought process here to Kyle Connor. The first 3 games of his series versus the Vegas Golden Knights, fantastic. He was probably the best player in the entire league. But then in those final 3, still had 1 goal and 1 assist, but did kind of get shut down to a degree once they made adjustments. Still a great overall playoff run by Kaprizov. Nobody's debating that. Just not quite great because of the back half. Connor Hellebuyck, no shit here. He definitely lands in bad. His road save percentage is 777. It is an absolute disaster. Right now, even at home, he only has an 890 or something like that. It has not been pretty for Connor Hellebuyck, and especially bad on the road. Braden Point also ends up in bad. Only 2 goals, 0 assists in 5 games. That is not going to get it done, especially when you look at what this guy's done in prior playoff runs for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Not good. Alexander Barkov definitely had his way with Braden Point. Barkov, I'm going to go with solid right now in the playoffs. He has 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in 9 games, while being very good defensively. Not killing it by any stretch. Florida has a very balanced attack this year, so just solid, living up to expectations, I'd say, but not quite exceeding it. Bobrovsky, also in bad. It has been a bad year for goaltenders. He has an 888 save percentage right now with negative 1.6 goals saved above expected. Did get a shutout in that last game. It was a pretty easy shutout, but hopefully he can get rolling. But right now, the Florida Panthers have kind of been winning despite Bobrovsky to a degree, not because of him. Alexander Ovechkin, I'm going to go with solid. 5 goals, 1 assist, 6 points in 9 games. They need more. They're basically done at this point. They were going to need more out of Ovechkin, not just goal scoring wise. They were going to need some playmaking out of him to potentially beat the Carolina Hurricanes. They're going to need serious game breakers. He has not quite exactly been that there. I'm laughing at how big Barkov's headshot is relative to Ovechkin. But not bad because the goal scoring has been there, and that's really the number one thing you look for Ovechkin. But just solid in between these two, definitely. Nathan MacKinnon is tough because although he lost in the first round, although some people thought was a MacKinnon merchant, absolutely dominated in that Game 7, he still had 7 goals, 4 assists in 7 games. So It wasn't really his fault. There's another guy on Colorado that we're going to get to that I would blame more so for the first round exit than Nathan MacKinnon. But at the end of the day, if you're Nathan MacKinnon, you got to take over that game 7. I know that he did have a goal, but to blow a 2-0 lead, I can't quite throw you in great when you lose in the first round. And Nikita Kucherov, 0 goals, 4 assists. Kind of got bodied by the Florida Panthers, especially even when he was in his offensive zone. He was not able to generate much. So it was a bad performance after last year against Florida being pretty bad. Again, bad relative to expectations, but I think that's fair for Kucherov. Ottinger, I'm going to go with good. In between good and great for me. Has a 9-11 right now. Was great in Game 7 for the Dallas Stars. Was great in Game 1, even though Rantanen also had a hat trick. He was very underrated in that game. So yeah, 9-11 save percentage. Playing solid. Steps up in big games. You could argue very good. I don't know if I would quite do that, but definitely between good and very good. McDavid, even though we do have these astronomical expectations for McDavid, I think that he has been great when looking at him thus far. 3 goals, 14 assists for 17 points in 10 games. Yeah, last year, not the most gaudy goal totals as well, but he is just setting up everybody on this team. You were able to see, especially in that last game, Edmonton just take that pace to another level. And it obviously starts with Connor McDavid, the fastest player in the league. He's been exceptional, and as a result, Edmonton's probably going to make back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Darcy Kemper, you got to go with bad as well. When looking at Kemper in the regular season, a 921 save percentage as in the finalist, 889 in the playoffs with like a -2 goal save above expected. Not like horrible, not Hellebuck level bad, or yeah, not even Vasilevsky level bad, but still was a net negative to the LA Kings when you thought heading into the series we have a clear advantage in net. Kemper did not exactly play to that level that we were expecting. Mitch Marner, I'm gonna go with good to solid. Two goals, 10 assists, 12 points in 10 games. Very good defensively. Would like to see a little bit more goal-scoring offense in this series versus Florida, but he's been good. He's stepped up. He's definitely earning his 8-year, $13.25 million contract. Bratt, not bad. 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points, but similarly, did not have the production that he sure had. And similarly to an Ovechkin type, like he needed to be a star, to potentially a superstar to beat the Carolina Hurricanes. They were able to kind of key in on him because of their lack of depth and able to slow him down and only have 3 points and 1 goal. Cale Makar, also bad, man. Cale Makar this year in the playoffs, still 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points, which like doesn't sound that bad in 7 games for any other defenseman. But for Cale Makar, after last year, 15 points in 11 games in 2022, 29 points in 21 games en route to a Conn Smythe. It was a very underwhelming, especially defensively, not even just offensively, where you expect at least point per game from a guy like Cale Makar. Defensively, he was pretty lackluster for this Dallas Stars team and is definitely more to blame than a Nathan MacKinnon. It was not horrendous by any stretch, but especially against a Dallas team that was hurting, you got to be better than that. Mark Stone, I'm going to go with solid. He has 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points, and how many games right now? In 10 games right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. Cold in the first 3 games against Minnesota, then kind of heated up, and then in the last 2 games has gone cold kind of again against the Edmonton Oilers. It's been pretty inconsistent for him, and the guy right here that we're going to talk about. Might as well also put Jack Eichel. I'm putting Jack Eichel in solid as well. I don't know why I separated these two, but Eichel, 1 goal, 9 assists, 10 points. He's point per game, which is very nice. But Jack Eichel, you're a 30-point scorer. Score me some goddamn goals. So yeah, these guys have just been a little bit too inconsistent for me to potentially throw them up in good. Sam Reinhart, I'm going with solid. 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points in 9 games. Always very good defensively alongside Alexander Barkov, but nothing quite special. Matthew Tkachuk, the exact same stat line as Sam Reinhart. Solid. No It's been a very balanced scoring attack from the Florida Panthers, where I think that you're pretty satisfied right now. That come the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup Final, they're going to need one of these guys to go into good, very good, have 11 points in a series. But right now, they're able to get by a Toronto Maple Leafs team and Tampa Bay with their defensive system that they implemented. Draisaitl, great. Definitely great. Right now, he has, let me pull it up. Give me a second. 5 goals, 10 assists, 15 points. He just seems to always rise in the playoffs. Awesome thus far, Leon Draisaitl, even though he did have an own goal against the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 3. Austin Matthews, I'm going to go with solid. 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points in 10 games right now. I know that the Marner and Matthews line has been so good defensively, but again, this is just holding. I do have Matthews as, or at least in my most recent MB top 50, I think I had him as the 5th best player in the NHL. I expect more goal scoring out of the best goal scorer in the NHL, so to only have 2 goals, just not going to cut it. I'm not going to go bad or anything like that. He still is a point per game and has been shut down defensively. but I want goals. I don't really care about the expected goals against per 60 as much as I do for other players when you don't give me goals. Sebastian Aho, good, very good series against Montreal Canadiens. Was a legit Conn Smythe favorite, not favorite, but a contender. He's been solid against Washington Capitals. Hasn't really been required to bring too much offense. Has been solid defensively. He's having a good playoff run overall. Ullmark, bad. Ullmark has had an 880 and a negative 2.1 goals saved above expected. Those first three games, very lackluster, especially the two overtime games. You wish that he got one of those games, and then we could potentially be talking about the Ottawa Senators playing in the second round of the playoffs. Right now, he was quite underwhelming. It was better games 4 through 6, but the first three were just... And as a result, they went down 3-0 and didn't really stand that much of a chance. Evan Bouchard, the first 2 games against the LA Kings, bad. Since then, straight up great. So you land on very good. He's been awesome. Right now, 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points in 10 games thus far. And defensively, he's been so good. He's been so good against guys like Mark Stone and Jack Eichel the last 2 games especially. He's been playing like the best defenseman in the NHL right now. I don't think that's an exaggeration to say that now that Cale Makar is obviously out, and Cale Makar was lackluster, and Quinn Hughes is not in the playoffs. So, yeah, he's also, like a Mitch Marner, making a lot of money this offseason, or this season, these playoffs, and he's going to get paid this offseason. And lastly, William Nylander. I think you also got to go with great. I think this is a pretty straightforward top 4 right now. You could maybe go Kaprizov and Connor. They had some cold stretches, though. But William Nylander, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. Last couple of years, he has been the guy that is mainly elevated come playoff time for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's doing exactly that. He has been their best goal scorer, just so damn good in transition, so skilled, great hands. He's been playing great. Let me know in the comments. Let me move my head out of the way so I'm not blocking some of these guys. A lot of bad. Some players are playing pretty bad. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? I'll be seeing the next one. Peace.